How's it going, people? Salmon Slabber here, and this is a nice little bit of Vindictus. In the last couple I've mentioned like the difficulty of setting up the ships and missions and stuff, as well as all the classes and things like that. And I did mention a few times you get kind of different missions. You got the ones where it's kind of like your typical run through, there's a boss at the end, kill the boss is just like a normal regular fella, although slightly stronger than the usual blokes. And then you've got like, I suppose mini raids, where the final boss at the end of it is quite a chunky fella. He's got a lot of life and does some significant damage. But you can easily do it with like a small group of people, anywhere between like 1 and 6, something like that. And then you've got something called Royal Raids, which is what you're watching right now. These ones are kind of against mega bosses, best way to put it. The bosses in here kind of do a bollock ton of damage. They're massive bosses, they all got like their special attacks and stuff. And there's anywhere between 16 and like 24 of you. So this is one of the big ass fights. And I have shown you, I think it's the polar bear, I might have shown you before. Pretty sure I showed you the polar bear with the big old royal raid with loads of people. Well, this is the next one. You can do that polar bear at level 20, I believe. And you can do it a couple of times. These royal raids, I think it's 3 times a week you can do these, so you can't just constantly spam them, which kind of makes sense because some of these bosses do drop some nice expensive equipment. There was one later on in this video where I ended up getting a drop worth $1 mil, which at level 50 was a pretty massive sum. Gotta be said, it's quite nice. That kind of like paid for all my gear. So yeah, makes sense you can only do a couple of these a week. But it resets, and you can go back in and do it again. Now there is one other thing, I don't know if I actually mentioned this before, but throughout playing Vindictus, doing just the quests in town, you'll get quests something along the lines of, please go to X mission and go kill the boss and get X drop from him. Now some of these, the drops you get from the boss, or you're asked to get from the boss, they'll only appear if you have the quest. And other ones is just collect items, which you'll generally get just by going through all these missions, and they just kind of mount up. There's a few of them. But what I don't think I've mentioned before is the fact that you can actually gain titles in this game. Now what I mean by titles is if you look carefully above my characters and everyone else's head, you'll see the level, our name, and then underneath that, if people are in a clan, then you'll have the clan name, and above the character's name, you'll have a little saying. They're titles, and it adds a little bit of a collection kind of thing, or a completionist kind of perk to Vindictus, where you can get these titles. Some of them, in fact, quite a large majority of them, you'll get them simply by completing the quests in the towns and stuff, from when people ask you to gather X kind of thing. And other ones you'll gain by fulfilling certain objectives while inside missions. An example of this, for example, you got the ones in town, just like go collect me 2 red fur, something like that. And you'll get a quest, and you'll complete it, you'll get the title for it as well, and it'll be like red fur collector, something like that, something random. But you don't get anything else other than the title. Now you might get another one then where this in missions, challenge would be something like kick 30 spiders. And once you successfully kick 30 spiders, you'll gain the title, and this title in particular might give you +1 strength. So it does actually boost the abilities or the powers of your character if you actually do go ahead and collect all these titles. Although to be honest, quite a few of them are kind of hard to do, and some of them are really long-winded and take a while. But if you're going for the full completion kind of thing and making your character as strong as you could possibly be, then yeah, you may as well do it. But it is a nice little perk. So for example, a lot of these raids, the big massive like 30-man, 18-man raids, whatever the hell you want to do, big massive ones like this, with 3 giant big ass spiders that'll one-shot you. These ones, a lot of them have their own like special titles. Example, there's one for the polar bear, I think it's the like polar bear conqueror, or something along those lines. And Strybog I think his name is. It's Stribo Conqueror, something along that. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter what it's called. You get a title for it anyway. And the idea is you've got to kill Stribo, giant polar bear, 5 times I think it is. Which means you can only do 3 a week, so it's going to take you the minimum of 2 weeks to go ahead and get it. But when you do, suddenly you find that title, not only do you gain the title, but you gain the effects of the title, which is +5 strength, 5 intelligence, 5 will, and 5 something else or whatever. So you gain +5 on every stat across the board, which is the equivalent of a level, pretty much. Because every time you level up, you gain about 5 in every single stat, and you gain more HP and whatnot. So yeah, there is that. Titles are worth collecting, and some of them are quite fun and interesting. I mean, there's some basic ones, like I just said, where you just stab Stribo in the face, you kill it a couple of times, you'll gain a title. There's a few for regular bosses too. So you got, I think it's the Null Chieftain Conqueror is another one. It's a fairly, well, it's a small man raid boss, and you kill him a couple of times and you'll get the title. But then you get other ones like, kill 300 Nulls. Nulls are like the basic, kind of like wolf men kind of things. They're the very first things you'll start and see and kill in the game. And you'll get it by using objects found in the world and basically killing them with it. So you go through a mission, same as usual, only you're hunting this title, so you start picking up pots and barrels and stuff and stones off the floor, and you start pummeling Null's faces in with it. So it gets pretty interesting. It kind of changes things up a bit and gives you a reason to go back and do it if you haven't done it before. Now, there's one other thing as well I was asked about before, which I've never actually mentioned, and honestly, I can't say I actually thought about it. But I was asked, as you level up, is there a reason, or can you even go back to like the old missions, so like the missions you first started? Basically, if you was level 60, could you do like a level 1 mission kind of thing? Short answer, yes. You can go back and do whatever the hell you feel like whenever you want. Long answer, every time you complete a mission, you'll gain a chunk of cash, a chunk of XP, and something called AP, or ability points. And every single character has a bunch of abilities in like their character skill tree, the best way to put it. If you've played an MMO before, you'll probably understand what I mean. Basically, with this AP, or ability points, you can spend them to upgrade your skills. And as you'd expect, upgrading your skills make them more powerful and makes you do more damage. So all in all, it's a good reason to do them, but if you're going backwards, so if you were 60 and you decide to go into like a level 10 mission, for example, you'd likely gain no cash whatsoever because of the level difference, simple as that. The XP would be severely reduced because your level difference is there again, and your ability points will probably stay about the same from what I've seen. You'll get less, but you'll still gain ability points. Whereas conversely, if you was level 60 and you did a level 60 mission, for example, then you would gain full cash, and well, if you didn't screw up and die or something along those lines. So you'll get the full cash for that, and you'll also gain the full XP plus a bonus for the difficulty because it'll be the same level or above, and you'll gain the full whack of ability points. So it's typically 50 the first time you go through it if it's at or above your level, or something around there. So yeah, you can go back and do it, but you'll suffer some consequences for it. And what you're watching in the background now, just thought I'd mention, this is, I think it's the level 40, like a mega royal raid boss, and this fella does a bollock ton more damage, but he's also the one that gave me an awesome drop for a mil, so yeah, I'm not complaining. Plus he does look funky. So yeah, these missions do start to get a bit ridiculously massive, and you'll see in a minute all the attacks are different and everything like that, and yeah, I'm about to get owned. Break it through. Not happening, I'm dead. There we go, so there you go, that's 6 people, instantly dead, one shot kill, get out. But it makes it interesting. These 18-man raids are cool. And as you'd expect, there's also titles and stuff you can earn from killing this fella, as well as the materials and things like that. So there's a reason to come back and do them all, plus it is a good laugh trying to actually kill them. And there you go, just got revived and instantly across the entire area, another attack, instantly dead. Love it. Cheers, bud. Fucking love you, dragon. But yeah, you can go back anyway, back onto what I was just talking about. You can go back and do whichever missions you want. In fact, when it comes to doing the skills, personally I've just leveled up platesmithing. I've gone back and basically just grinded areas to try and get a bunch of materials. So I basically didn't just never spend anything, and I've just made loads of money from crafting. It does get a bit boring, but there's another reason for going back, because you've got a bunch of titles you can still get. I mean, you've got titles which is using items to kill certain mobs, or kicking mobs in the face to get another title, or killing them with secondary weapons. There's loads of it. And that's another thing I think I haven't mentioned before. I've mentioned the fact that every character gets 2 kind of weapon types you can specialise in. Example, Kai, the bloke you're seeing me as right now, you can use a bow for one, and his second weapon is a crossbow. But that isn't his secondary weapon, they're all main, like, primary weapons. When I say secondary weapons, what I mean is there's actually a button you can press. It's defaulted to F if you're using mouse mode, and one is a spear. Basically you get this like big giant javelin in your hand, and you can lob it and you'll hopefully kill something with it, or you'll hit them. Basically they are used to stun enemies or outright kill them. They can help stun bosses, and with some good aim you can actually break off parts of bosses, which I've never mentioned before. Yeah, that actually happens. So for example, this bloke, Beokros I think his name is, there is a way to like rip off the ice shards on his back, and once those are ripped off you can stab him in the face with them. It's something along those lines. And some bosses, when you break them off, you'll gain special items, and because breaking off on some bosses is kind of difficult, you'll get some rare items. A good example is Irukul. He's about level 40-50, but it's like a 6-man raid, something along those lines. You need quite a few people there to help you with it. But he's a pretty difficult boss. He's not easy to kill, at least not from what I've seen. Everyone always teams up on him because he is a bit of a bitch. But you can break off his tusks, but as he's constantly charging at you and always moving his head around, it's pretty hard to do. But when you do, the tusks are worth quite a large chunk of cash. It kind of carries on out throughout the game. There's quite a few bosses that you can break off on, and you can make some decent money from it. But yeah, that's what kind of like what the spears are for. There's a bunch of different secondary weapons. You've got a chain hook. Basically you launch this chain. Best way to describe it is on Zelda, where he's always got like the chain hook. Similar thing, except for you don't follow the chain hook. You kind of hook into the boss and you kind of try and hold him back. So for example, if this boss is running away from you, you and everyone else can lob a chain hook at it and try and like slow him down or stop him from moving. So that's what the chain hook's for. It's pretty cool. There's something called the Light of Palala, or Light of Pala, something like that. Best way to think of it is a flash grenade from like Call of Duty. It basically blinds the boss and hopefully saves your life. They're pretty handy. There's another one then, you've got small bombs. Literally exactly what it sounds like. You can use it to clear out basic trash mobs. You can just lob a couple of bombs about and yeah, you'll kill everything. Good times. Kind of handy. There's a mine bomb, and this is how you actually mine in the game. You'll randomly see like an ore deposit on the floor is what it looks like. You lob one of these mine bombs at it, it'll explode and a bunch of iron and stuff will come out. You can pick them up nice and easy. That's how you go mining. It's pretty good. What else is there? I'm sure I'm missing some. No, sticky bombs. You can get sticky bombs. Exactly what it sounds like. It's the small bomb equivalent, except for it sticks wherever you lob it at. Simple as that. And then they kind of like, there's an upgraded version of all of those, which are like fine spears, fine small bombs, fine mine bomb, that kind of thing. So they're your secondary weapons. So they're actually pretty handy and pretty good to use, especially against bosses like this, if it can actually help you stun them. Because if you can get these down onto the floor of it, then it means everyone can just pile on the boss for a little while and you can dish out some nice damage. But yeah, I thought I'd show you this because I've talked about the big fuck off 18-man raids, but you've only ever seen the polar bear. And the pull-up is nice and early, so it's only level 20, so a lot of people, even if you've tried the game out for a couple of hours, you probably would have hit 20 and maybe have gone to try this out anyway. But yeah, I thought I'd showcase a few more. So you got the spiders, you got this dragon, there's another one at level 40, which is a different kind of dragon, and there's another one after that, but I can't remember whether it's level 40 or 50, and that's the god of Fomors. I think he's a big fuck off black dragon, although I'm not sure. Good news though, I can show you some more stuff soon as well. Because I've hit 60, I've now gained access to what used to be the level cap. Once upon a time ago, before Season 2 came out, I think it was. The level cap for Vindictus was level 60, at least in the EU, because this is the EU version mine, so it might be slightly different from the US and whatnot. The level cap is now up to 80, but because the level cap was at 60 for so long, as you'd expect, a lot of kind of end game content was kind of added at 60. So there's lots and lots of like raid bosses and stuff like that I can go ahead and try to do at level 60. So I can show you some more bigger boss battles and things like that, which is quite cool. I'm quite liking it. And it's got to be said, I'm starting to struggle against bosses now at 60. They are starting to get a bit stupidly hard. Well, I say stupidly hard, it's less difficult. It's more, everything up to this point was kind of straightforward. You could kind of easily dodge the bosses, or their attacks were kind of like really telegraphed, so you could like fully know what's coming beforehand. And they might have had like a short range, so yeah, it's kind of easy to dodge because their attack range is pretty small, which means you can kind of dodge out the way, no trouble whatsoever. And you knew what attacks were coming anyway, so you knew where to dodge, when to dodge, the exact timings, that kind of thing. It's got to the point now where they've started adding in bosses which kind of teleport around, and their attacks kind of vary a little bit. And then there's other bosses where it's just like this, where the bosses are just huge, or they're chunky bosses, and their attack range is just massively wide. So even if you manage to dodge, unless you dodge at like the precise moment, or very close to the right moment, but in the right direction, then you're gonna get smacked by the boss. And additionally, later on, at level 60, I'd literally just come across a boss now. I went in hard mode. I'm not doing hero at 60, you're fucking crazy. I'm only 60, they'd all one-shot me. But even then, I was in hard mode. I did Season a Marker, which adds difficulty on top of it, and I was quite literally insta one-shot by the boss. Didn't even have a chance to kind of realise what was going on. Boss kind of just ran at me, jumped in the air and stabbed me in the face. Game over. So that was interesting. Kind of didn't know what the fuck I was actually doing or what was going on, but yeah. So there you go. Bosses are getting hard now. Everyone in the forums and stuff did say this game starts to get harder at 60 plus. I'm afraid I'm going to have to agree, it does get pretty difficult. But yeah, it's pretty fun though. I'm liking this game. It's a nice and interesting change. So there we go. Hopefully you all enjoyed. So I'll leave you with Chunky Ice Dragon of Doom. That's pretty much all I got on my mind at the moment to chat about. I'm sure there's more things. Give me 5 minutes, I'll probably remember, but I would have ended the recording by then. But whatever. So yeah, until next time people, I will leave you with Chunky Ice Dragon of Doom, and I hope you all enjoyed. Till next time, I will catch you all later. Have a good one.